Hey, back.
Guess who's back?
Guess who's back? Welcome back.
Back again.
I've
I'm
missed you.
back.
It's been a while.
I missed you too, MJ.
Shit.
I had to take some vacations
Yeah, you were all over the place.
all over the place.
I don't blame you, though, given the state of the world is trying to find an escape plan to get the fuck out.
It's funny that you mentioned that too, because one of the places that I went to was DC. Okay?
Yeah.
And I did.
On that note, though, how disappointed were you that you got there to see the new speaker get sworn in and it wasn't really me?
I know, right? I had my fingers crossed. But yeah, so one thing I would like to say about DC, I had a great time. Went and toured a lot of everything that goes into our history, which brings me to my next point. So I think one of the first places we went to, based off of where we were staying, was we went to the Lincoln Memorial. Fabulous, big statue of Abraham Lincoln. And then there's actually things etched into the walls, There's one about the Foursquare thing, the Gettysburg Address is etched into the wall. And then on the other side, there's I want to say there was 3 panels of it, and it talks about moving on from slavery and all that and whatnot. And I'm just reading it, and I'm like, why don't they make some of the idiots who represent the country, who represent people in this country? It's like they've never read this, because this is exactly the shit that they would prefer that people don't know about,
Yeah. Well,
I'm like, have they visited this?
Just to get to that really quick, I had come home. My roommate was watching Fox the other night, and of course they were talking about Israel, and we'll touch upon that a little bit. But I want to make this point about it. Was this guy came on, and he got into how, well, if you really research the Democratic Party, you'll see that they were the party that was for having slaves. True. Mm-hmm. At the time. True. He's not wrong.
True. It is true. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican.
Right.
Right.
But what they always fail to mention is at the time, I think it was in the 50s and 60s, the parties switched ideologies.
Right. And because too, that the Democrats that were Democrats back then got pissed that the Republican Party was making them get rid of their slaves. So they flip-flopped. So the Democrats, the diehard Democrats of back then, found a new home in the Republican Party when the Republican Party was no longer accepting they weren't really making it known that they were accepting of other folks.
Right. And so he gets into this. Then he gets into, well, Democrats support Hamas, so the Democrats are the Hamas property, are the party of Hamas. So immediately, I was in my room and I heard it because my roommate's a little bit hard of hearing, so he had it kind of loud, and I was like, This is complete bullshit. Do you hear what this fucking guy is saying? I was like, that's like me saying every Republican is a member of the KKK.
Right. Or that every Republican was there on 1/6.
Yeah.
And supports that. That's like saying that. Which I want to touch on 1/6, but we can finish this up. Okay. I understand that apparently on some college campuses there are people who are protesting for Hamas. Why is it that they label the entire left as college kids? First off, I only went to community college, all right? And I'm sick of the other fucking stereotype of unless you're poor, you're not allowed to be on the left. But then somehow leftists are elitists. Like, it's so fucking confusing. All these like generalizations that they make about the left. And I'll admit that I have done that before in the past about the right. On this podcast, we like to make a lot of jokes, and I will be making some later about the right, But I know that it's not all of them on that side.
Yeah.
They do have their lunatics, and they do have their fucking dummies, and so does the left. The left has their lunatics and the left has their dummies.
Yeah, and to especially like the Bill Mahers, who's mostly on our side about most issues. How come you cannot support? Now, I support Israel,
Right.
and it was atrocious what happened there that led to this conflict.
Right.
But at the same time, I support the innocent Palestinian people who are under rule of Hamas. And to see, I think it was up to something like 9,000, I think, Palestinians have died in the last month since this conflict started.
Right.
9,000.
Yeah, I don't understand why anytime I don't talk about, I haven't talked much about the whole Israel, Palestine, Hamas debacle because first off, I feel like I don't know enough about all of it but I'm for being for innocent people. And I think that how I've been explained to so far is like, no, Hamas is like the terrorist group.
Correct.
Okay. So they attacked Israel, but Hamas is not all of Palestine. I mean, it seems to me like a lot of people are forgetting that there are a lot of Palestinian people that are being shoved into like the Hamas column, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think, because I know, like I listened to a radio show with a Palestinian person on it, and they're like, no, we are not for Hamas at all. But they're for, innocent people in Palestine.
Well, and the Gaza Strip is roughly the size of Detroit.
Right. It's like 5 miles or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you have a lot of people, I think there are 90,000 people who live there.
In that area.
In that area. So, and also, I'm not a foreign policy expert at all. I'm not calling myself. I do not completely know the history.
We should probably say, yes, our show is opinion. Just so we want to get that out, because that was part of the reason why I had to take some time off. We are an opinion show.
Yeah, this is our own dumb thoughts. This isn't the truth. We're not well.
We're not experts on this.
This is the truth to us. How we see it, how we believe it, and stuff like that. And in this, I don't fully understand the conflict. I do know that there is a bit of amount of guilt on both sides, and that's not supporting Hamas at all. But Israel hasn't always been the greatest towards the Palestinians, and of course the Palestinians haven't always been great to the Israelites.
Right.
And
I think a lot of the problem, too, is the current leader. Like, a lot of people don't like Netanyahu or whatever. Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of glad when he was out, and I don't know how he got back in again. But again, I don't follow their history that closely.
Apparently, it's caused some problems that he is back in.
And the baffling thing about this is this conflict could escalate very quickly. If Iran and Syria get involved, and then we get involved, and if Iran gets involved, does Russia get involved?
It's such a headache.
It's scary and shit like that, but overall, it's sort of really stupid too, because you're talking about a plot of land that's the size of Detroit, and to think that because of religion, because this is a lot, this is based off religion,
right?
Because Hamas wants to exterminate the Jews. Is that religion could be the start of a major world war. That's fucking dumb. Dumb that so many people die.
Hasn't it been that in the past?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say, yes, I went to the Holocaust Museum too.
Yeah.
That one was all about religion too.
Again, we're not supporting Hamas at all.
Right.
We're not anti-Semitic at all.
Have you ever been to the Holocaust Museum?
No.
Oh, God. It is it reminded me of like some parts of it when you're walking through there and the tools to measure the width of people's noses. And they had a tray thing that had different eye colors in it that they would verify. I was like, this is like a fucking horror movie or something, you know?
Yeah, like Saw.
And that was like not even as bad as like I've heard that like Auschwitz is what, like when you go there and because they didn't have like all the hair in there and at the Holocaust Museum. They didn't have that, but I guess my family was telling me they had been to Auschwitz, and my mom's talking to me about Auschwitz almost the whole time we're in there, in the Holocaust Museum. But yeah, it's, I'm glad that I was able to go back to it though. The first time I went to the Holocaust Museum, I tried to go. So they didn't have the person that tells you to go all the way up the elevators, right? And they did it completely different. Like you walk in and they tell you to pick a card. Okay, so you pick this card and it's about a real person that got sent to concentration camps. My person ended up dying. Her husband, and her child all died at one of the death camps. And the one that starts with a T. I can't think of I can't remember the whole name of it. But so the first time I had went though, they didn't have very good organization. They're like, yeah, you need to go up and then work your way down. So we obviously got off on the wrong floor and we end up in the room it's this huge circle room, and it's got the names of all the death camps in it, and then it's got all these candles lit, and it tells you that like each candle represents a certain amount of people. And I like had a panic attack, so at least this time I was able to, they guide you, because I'm like, I told my mom, I was like, now do you see why I freaked out and I had to get out of here? Because this was the first room I came into. They didn't have this thing well organized last time. It's like, but I was glad to go to it and everything. It was, like I'm telling you, we went to so much in DC. I went to damn near everything. That I even went to the home office of the Teamsters and visited them.
Oh, how's that?
Awesome. They gave me a tour of that, you know.
Hey, and they getting congratulations to, I think, also like the auto workers, I think have settled their strikes.
All three of the automakers did?
I know Ford and Chevrolet have.
Yeah,
I think Dodge, I wasn't sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to ask. I know someone.
Hopefully the people at Tesla see what's going on and decide to unionize.
Right.
Musk probably wouldn't go for that, though.
Boy, that would piss Musk off. But that would be great.
Speaking of...
They need to get some of that money for... I'm sorry, he's shooting himself into space on a penis rocket. He needs to pay his employees.
Speaking of that, how much did you love the South Park special that came out this week on Paramount Plus, where it was kind of like a play on the Elon Musk thing about income inequality?
Elon Musk and Zuckerberg, because they threw in the part about them wanting to fight in an octagon or whatever, fight in the ring, and also I think one of the most important things at the end of that, did you catch the part where he was like, it's just lazy to fucking call people out for being woke all the time. That's the lazy way out. It's like, it is the lazy way out. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. So
thank you for making that point, and hopefully some of your other viewers on the other side will listen to that.
Yeah, it's Into the Pandaverse. Pandaverse, was that on Paramount Plus? Anyway, I was...
because they're pandering.
I was just dying the whole time watching that.
I know.
And... The other funny part was because they replaced all the South Park characters with women of diversity.
Yeah.
And just because Cartman didn't like it, they kept on calling him racist.
I know. It was funny. That was a good episode.
Oh, shit. All right, so let's see. You made it to the White House?
Yeah, I didn't actually get to go on the White House tour because I kind of planned my vacation after they had already planned everything. So they had already gotten a hold of, they had to go through their representative, who they have a good one, Ruben Gallego. So they went through his office to get tickets to visit the White House and the Capitol. It's strict. Like, it's even stricter to go visit the White House, even though you only get to go into a part of it. But the day that they visited the White House, I was actually able to get a ticket to go to the Capitol. So I'm ready to talk about what I learned at the Capitol too.
Wait. So the White House. So to go to the White House, you need to contact your representative.
Yes.
To get in, and he has to approve it.
I guess their office helps you get tickets.
Okay. So I would have to contact Paul Gosar.
I know, that's what I told my mom too. I was like, you know who my representative is?
I know, and then he would go like...
And she's like, yeah, but they usually will work with you anyways to let you...
He'd be like, no, I heard the podcast. No, I want you to go.
Right? But yeah, so I didn't get to go to the White House, but I mean, we did on one of our walking tours, we walked by it and I got to see it and everything. So they only get to go... When you go on a tour in there, you only get to go to a small portion of it anyways. And it's very strict rules. Like, you can't even bring in purses or anything. You can bring nothing in on you. It's super strict.
Can you bring a cell phone to take pictures?
I forget if they were allowed to. I think they are allowed to bring a cell phone, and you are allowed to take pictures, but you can't take video or something like that. I don't know, something weird.
But you could say, bring cocaine in there and accidentally drop it, right? They probably don't check you for that.
See, that's why I don't understand that part. Because no, my mom and them had brought in these, like, it's just like a thing that you hang, like, on. Basically, it's like a lanyard, but with, like, your ID and stuff on it, you know? Like, it has a pouch for your ID, and that's it, and it's clear, and you can see through it. That's the only thing they wore. Because I went to the Capitol that day, so I took her purse with me, and so she'd have it when I met up with them. I met up with them after my tour was over.
Okay. So, that explains. I was like going, I wonder how come Snow is in none of these pictures that your mom took.
Oh, at the White House on those days, yeah. And they had to go the day that they went to the Capitol, that's when I went and visited the Teamsters. And then the next day I went to the Capitol because I got in on a tour. But it's even now, ever since 1/6, and thanks to those assholes, it's harder to go visit the Capitol. Like, the Capitol, you used to be able to just go into the visitor's desk and, you know, request to get on a tour, you know, and if they had room for you, you know, whatever. Now you have to you have to plan in advance too. But luckily my sister was able to find me a spot, but it just wasn't the same day as theirs. It was the next day. So let me tell you about that. Like, and the Capitol, like, they've got all this stuff, like, marked off, like, all these, they have, like, those metal barricades that we saw in the videos too, that they stormed past them. But, like, the Capitol Police are everywhere. And this tourist was walking, like, because I'm, like, walking through because I had to walk past the Capitol to get over to the Teamsters building. Well, anyways, this guy's walking and he tries to walk in, like, one of the, like, they're old buildings. So they have, like, those old, like, enclaves that technically, like, a golf cart could drive through. Well, the guy tried to walk through that, and the police officer was like, "No, sir." I was like, "Oh shit, am I gonna get to see a takedown?" You know, but no, they corrected him. They're like, "You can't be walking through that area. You have to walk out in the open." You know, it was like stuff like that. You could only go so far up the steps.
Yeah.
Of the Capitol, like, you couldn't go all the way up to, like, take your pictures.
Well, that's been for years, because this is how far back this goes. Ted Kennedy was in office at the time, and I was at the Capitol, and I was walking. You know, I was partially up the steps. I saw at the top of the steps, Ted Kennedy was doing a press conference, and this is, if you're looking at the front of the Capitol, it was off on the right-hand side.
Right.
So I was like, oh,
He
Ted
probably
Kennedy.
was on the Senate side.
Yeah, so
doing one.
I was like, okay, there's Ted. I'm like, I'd like to go up and see that. And there was a bunch of people around. Of course, they all had press, and I got about halfway up the stairs, and the Secret Service was like, don't go any further. I was like, okay.
Right. Yeah, because like the middle part is where the rotunda is, and then you have the separate. One side's the House, one side's the Senate. Like, so anyways, my point about the Capitol though was the whole time I'm thinking they make you go in and watch this video, and they don't say anything about 1/6 at the end of it, but they tell you the history of the Capitol and how it was built up by slave labor when it was first built, and then it was destroyed. Do you know by who? They set it on fire.
It was South.
No, it was the British.
British.
So
1812, right?
So my mind starts going. I go, well, then how do these people sit there and call themselves like patriotic Americans? Like, I suppose they were like patriotic British that day. I don't know. The 1/6ers, when they busted in and destroyed our capital yet again. I mean, they didn't destroy it as bad. You know, they shit inside of it and broke windows and stuff.
Did you hear yesterday? 45 was giving a campaign rally, and he called the January 6ers hostages.
See, this is my point right here. When I watched that, and then after watching that great documentary that Nancy Pelosi's daughter did,
oh yeah, that's
Alexandra Pelosi. So I'm watching it and I go, you know, and most of these people are just stupid. They're just stupid fucking people. I'm like, what they should do as part of their punishment, I don't know, maybe bring them back to visit the Capitol. Make them watch the movie. Make them watch the movie of look who's the one that destroyed it.
Yeah.
Who had destroyed the Capitol. Make them watch the movie. Make them learn something. Because again, this is a failure in education. This is another thing that I'm like, shit, we got people who represent these fucking boneheads too. They need to be. I'm like, has Marjorie Taylor Greene ever watched this movie? Have any of them? Like,
well, no, they're not gonna watch it.
They all have positions in government, but yet they know nothing about government. They don't know about our history. Because if they did, then they wouldn't have been on board for going and destroying it. And why you would want to destroy the Capitol? Well, have you ever been inside of it?
Well, they were just tourists that day.
Have you ever been inside of it?
No.
It's absolutely beautiful. It's like the craftsmanship that's in there. Then you look up at that ceiling, and some people compare it to Michelangelo, the Michelangelo on the Sistine Chapel. I can't compare it to that because I haven't been to the Sistine Chapel. But it is beautiful, and it rotates because, you know how I could tell this, like it slowly rotates, is because that E pluribus unum or whatever the saying is. So I took a picture of it, and then our tour guide's talking more, and I go, that's rotating, because then it was like moved from where
I didn't realize it rotated.
I was like, yeah, but it is so beautiful. Like the detail, I'm like, how could those assholes break in here and then just start destroying everything? I'm like, and there's like all these statues in there they're going to be getting a statue of Johnny Cash because each state gets to pick like 2 statues or whatever that they want to go in there. And they don't have to be political things either. They don't have to be people that had to do with politics. Mm-hmm. So, Johnny Cash statue going in there.
How far do you get to go into? Do you get to go down?
You do not get to go like into the. You
can't go into the chambers. I know that.
Yeah, you go into the rotunda, and then they show you like look all the way to your right, and those are through there is the House. Okay, and then look to your left, those are the Senate, but they've got that roped off. You don't get to go into like what we see on TV when they're doing
right. So you cannot see the representatives' offices or anything like that.
No, but they did tell you like right over like they were right by. Well, Nancy Pelosi at the time was speaker. They were right by her office, but they were. I don't know. how they. I don't think. Did they ever break into her office?
Yeah.
Okay, they did finally
Yeah,
get into her office.
because the guy.
But they were looking for it forever, and it's like they were right there, right when they got in there. But I don't think they knew that it was right there, and
No,
like
because
they were able to get them
that one
out.
guy got arrested. The guy that was sitting at her desk with his feet up on the desk.
Okay,
He got arrested for that.
the shaman.
No, it wasn't him.
But yeah, they don't talk about 1-6 on the tour.
No, I mean,
They don't talk about it at all. There's like no mention made of it, which I honestly I thought there should have been. I thought there should have been in that movie. Like you talked about how the British fucking destroyed it.
Well, and let's get back to that movie for a minute. And we talked about these people were stupid, and yeah, they didn't seem like the brightest bulbs. I'll say that.
Especially the brother that was like, it's like, I still want to know if the sister's baby is if the dad is the father.
Yeah. Anyway, this is on HBO.
If the brother is the father.
If you're wondering. But
he even said, he goes, well, I was in special ed my whole life.
Well, I guess the point I'm trying to make is the people, let's call them poorly educated instead of stupid.
Like Trump calls them? Okay. That's
who are very susceptible to believing everything that they see on social media. Let's just say that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then the way social media works is if you feed into one thing, you'll just keep on seeing it. Because I know on my Facebook feed, I see a lot of right-wing stuff. That's because I will stop and I'll read an article about it and I'll see more of it. And then Facebook thinks I'm, this right-winger. Which obviously I'm not. But anyway, if you're just fed into that, then you're just going to believe all this fucking bullshit. And that can work both ways. Now, if you're off too far to the left and you're seeing all this left fucking propaganda too, then you're going to go a little bit wacky to the left. Who's a representative from I think in Minnesota, and fucking they wanted to censor her because she was making
Rashida Tlaib?
Yeah. She came out and said yesterday that Biden is for Palestine genocide.
What?
Because he's supporting Israel.
He didn't say that though.
He didn't say that, but anyway, we have wacky people on the left too.
He's said that he supports the innocent people of Palestine too. That there are innocent people there.
Yeah, but she came out and condemned Biden for being for Palestine genocide.
See, like that must be what some of these people are talking about when, like the Bill Mahers or whatever, when they're, because like they'll sit there and talk about how some people are far left, and maybe it's because I'm not on social media, but I'm like, what are they talking about, and where are they getting this from? And then the thing with Bill Maher, I always hear is like he always brings up college too, and I'm like, but that doesn't reflect everyone that's on the left. I mean, that's offensive to me because I consider myself on the left, but it's not. But I'm not behind like those extremist things that he's saying. Like, I'm like, what are you fucking talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And you're looping everyone into this. You're doing the same thing that you're bitching about the left doing to the right. Like, you're doing the same fucking thing.
Yeah. Well, and this is the point. This is the point I was making. Like, these people just get sucked into this narrative, and then that's what they believe because they don't bother to do the research on it to get the full story. And it's just like I get home from work. I think it was yesterday, and of course Fox News is on. And are they talking about the conflict? No. Are they talking about Ukraine and Russia? No. Are they talking about the shooting in Lewiston? No. So I come in, and what they talk about is the border crisis, which there is a border crisis. Yes, there is. But and this guy was on, and he goes, well, it's because the wide open borders. And I'm like, no, the borders aren't open. We've said this many times. If they're arresting more people than ever before at the border. Is that border really wide open if people are getting arrested when they come over?
And also, I've had this conversation with my dad too. And it's usually not usually, it is always on the conservative side. We're talking about conservative lawmakers, and it's also projected by the news anchors at Fox who keep saying the borders are wide open. Joe Biden's left the borders wide open. Okay, listen to me, morons. And I have no problem calling them morons because they are well educated and should know better. When you go on TV and you talk about, when you're on Fox News talking about how the borders are wide open, Mexico they air Fox News in Mexico. I have been on vacation plenty of times in Mexico. In fact, I went on a trip one time. My boyfriend at the time was a conservative, wanted to stay in the room and watch Fox News. And I told him, Roger, you can stay in here. I'll be down at the pool. I didn't come to Mexico to watch fucking Fox News, okay? They have it there. So what do you think happens when the coyotes, the ones that bring over illegals, they go, hey, give me your money now. Now's the time to go. Senator Ted Cruz is on TV telling everyone that the borders are wide open. He said the borders are wide open. Now's the time to go. Senator Mark Rubio is on the TV saying that the borders are wide open. Governor Ron DeSantis is on the TV saying that the borders are wide open because of Joe Biden. So now's your shot. Now's your time to go. That's why they're fucking coming.
Yeah. And
shut your mouths, assholes.
And I didn't know until I watched Bill Maher last night that Joe Biden has deported more people than Trump has.
Right. Yeah, because remember how they were making the joke? They're like, but when you're on the left, you can't really brag about that because then the left will get turned off by it. And it's like, not everyone on the left. There are plenty of people I know on the left who want a stronger border. They don't want to go through it the way that Trump did. You know, they don't necessarily want a stronger border that way.
Right.
Because it didn't, last time I checked, it didn't really fucking work out for Trump anyways. And also, we should also bring up the fact too, since we're talking about immigration, most of the people that are here in this country flew in on a plane. They did not fucking cross a border. They flew in on a plane and they overstayed their visit. And they don't have brown skin, actually.
Okay.
They've got white skin. But nobody's saying nothing to these folks.
And that goes, and I did like the fact, the one guy did bring it up, that he goes, well, why aren't you going after the corporations?
Right.
That hire them. And that's something we've said for a long time.
That was actually Bill Maher that said that. He goes, why don't they go after the corporations? And I'm like, oh, it was like the heavens had opened. I'm like, this has been said for years. This has been the cry of unions for years because unions are obviously for good wages for American workers. Hello. And we're not getting that, you know, and these jagoffs over here are getting off on cheaper fucking labor, which is their goal. That's probably why they go on the fucking TV. The borders are wide open. Come, because we don't want to pay these high wages. Get your asses over here. We're going to abuse the fuck out of you.
And, you know, Congress could do something. You know, the Republicans hold the House. They have a new speaker. They could come up and they could draft an immigration bill. Right? Do they do that? No. Because it is starting to catch up, though, you know, since the pandemic, it is starting to catch up where we do really need immigrant labor, too. Like, you know, I'm talking like farm labor and whatnot they don't have the amount of people they need. I mean, they've been crying for a while now. There's been a cry with the farming industry, how they need workers. They need workers. Yeah.
So,
and I'm going to talk vague. I know someone who was in the United States, maybe possibly not legally, and to find work, let's say they would have to some shady dealings and clean, let's say, large entertainment facilities after events, and they get hired per day, and they get locked into the entertainment venue overnight to clean the facility. Because
So do they have to sleep there?
no, because they sleep during the day and work at night.
Okay.
So
Well,
it's an 8-hour shift.
okay.
But you don't get any breaks because hey, you're not really on the clock.
They don't have to give you breaks because you're not
Yeah, technically.
a registered employee, really. I mean, you're fakely registered.
Right.
So they're like, you're not getting a break. You're just here to clean.
Right. And let's just say, and I because I don't know how fully this works, but they somehow have real social security numbers to, do the things that they need to do. But it was kind of eye-opening. I wish I could fully explain. I wish I could have gone in there with an undercover camera to capture this, because this would be a 60-minute story.
We need John Oliver to do a story on this.
Did you watch the last John Oliver?
No, that's
didn't?
what I forgot to watch.
You didn't?
I was watching so
you're,
many things.
You're never going to eat chocolate again.
I know, and I was planning on watching that, and then it slipped my mind. I'm like, oh, fuck, what else was I supposed to watch? I was trying to catch up on everything. I'm going to watch him right after this cast.
Thank God the writer's strike is over. Now if we
So,
just get the actor's strike.
Let's not talk about chocolate until the next time. We'll save that one. I'm going to be real sad about that, too, because I'm a huge Willy Wonka fan and everything.
So shit, yeah. So then you went to Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was good. It was good. My one complaint about the city of Philadelphia.
The sports fans?
No, I don't. The Eagles, actually, they were pretty cool. I mean, because we were there when the Diamondbacks still actually had a shot. And most of them, like at the bars and everything, they were like, oh, yeah, well, no, I'm rooting for the Diamondbacks now because you're supposed to root for the team that you lose to, blah, blah, blah. So even if they just said it to our face, whatever. But they were, they were kind of like, well, it was like kind of a fluke that we actually got into the playoffs anyways, blah, blah, blah. But the thing that the city of Philadelphia needs to work on, they need public restrooms. Oh my God. So and all the tour guides told you that too, like, because we did the hop on, hop off, and somebody had asked about a bathroom before, and the guy was explaining, he's like, yeah, there's like no public restrooms here. Like he goes, you can go in the visitor center has one, and then most of the other ones are like businesses. So when we were there and we went to where they did the Constitution, Freedom Hall, okay, went there. And yeah, I'd asked them, I'm like, do you guys have a bathroom? And the guy's like, no, we don't. But like, you can either go back over to the visitor center, or he goes, there's a Wawa that it's kind of like a convenience store.
Yeah, I know what it was.
Oh, okay. They're like, you can go there and go to the bathroom. So we go to the Wawa because it's closer, right? Go in there. It's like, bathrooms are closed. They close at 3 p.m. So like the whole city smells like piss, and this is why, like, there's nowhere for people to pee, and there's obviously a ton of homeless, there is everywhere. This is the United States. This is what we live with now. But it's like the whole city just reeks of piss, just piss stench everywhere.
And this isn't because it's a liberal city.
No, it's not. It's because of the lack of bathrooms too. And the guy was telling us too, the one tour guide that was selling us the bus tickets. He's like, yeah. He goes, like, if you'll notice here, there aren't a lot of fast food restaurants. He goes, a lot of them have pulled out because they probably get sick of the bathrooms getting destroyed. I'm assuming is what he meant by that, because they would have public restrooms or whatnot. Or you do the thing where you have to, like, lock the public restroom. Because another city that was like that was, like, Oakland. You had to have a code to go use the Starbucks bathroom, right? Oh. So I had bought a coffee, and so did the woman behind she goes, if I watch the door for you, will you watch the door for me? And we were like already locked in at this point, but it was just like the whole bathroom. It's like, did they not pee like in the toilets? They just pee like on the walls and shit in here. It was just, it's just
people.
But Woody, it's not the fault of it being a liberal city. All cities are like this. You know why? Because they got rid of, like, most of the people who are homeless are mentally ill. Are they going to be real concerned? I mean, half the time they're, like, peeing their pants and stuff. It's sad, but it's true. But it's like, this is from Reaganomics. He closed all the fucking insane asylums. He closed asylums. He closed mental institutions. Where do you think those people are going to go?
Well, and of course, this all goes down to, rent increases, groceries increase, wages don't increase, everything's fucking expensive.
Right.
It's kind of weird, like the economy.
You guys like that trickle down?
All the factors of the economy, the jobless rate, everything else, shows that the economy right now is doing really good. But you can see how people think it's not doing good because everything is so fucking expensive.
Right.
But that's just, call it what it is. It's not buying. It's just corporate greed and doesn't fucking trickle down. It doesn't trickle down.
Yeah.
And
I do want to say though, beer wasn't too bad in Philly. Like, shit, you can get beer cheaper in Philly than you can in Kingman.
Wow.
Honestly, at bars and stuff. Like I was drinking Yingling because you can only get that, like over there. Like $4.75 a beer. Like you can't get that here. In Kingman, fucking beer is expensive.
I went to the Spear in Vegas to see U2. Mm-hmm. Fuck beer. Like a 24-ounce double beer, $19.
Fucking crazy.
Now that's gouging to pay for this fucking multi-billion-dollar building, but
right.
I was like, no, thank you. What I did was I saved the $40 parking, whatever it was there. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna park at one of the casinos where you can park for free, and it's a mile away, and I'll walk over, and you know what? I'll have a few beers, and I'll just put them in my pockets, and just drink on the way over. So.
Yeah. What is the Sphere close to? I saw it when I was coming in from the flight, but I couldn't much tell.
It's behind the Venetian.
Okay.
And sort of, where the high roller is? The Ferris wheel type thing?
Yeah.
It's kind of a few blocks over from that.
Okay. The high roller's at Link, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the Spear really good from the high roller parking lot.
Yeah.
But the Spear is just incredible inside. It's mind blowing. You can't even describe it.
Yeah.
You see the videos, and until you see it, and Bono would be giving a speech, and he would whisper at parts, but the sound is so good that even when he whispered, it was like this in the headphones. You could hear him that clearly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. And of course, U2 always does a great show.
And they played their old stuff?
They did the Octung Baby album.
Okay.
But then they played, they did like the middle section, they do an acoustic part, and they did all rattle and hum songs during that part. And then they did all their hit songs at the end. And they only played one new song.
Oh, okay.
So, the people that don't like the newer U2 stuff, they don't do any of that.
Yeah. They're like, I like their old stuff. But I like Actone Baby.
Yeah.
That was a good album.
So did you do the Philly cheesesteak thing?
Yeah. We did not do Pat's or Gino's because if you asked any local, every single one of them said both of them are crap. They were all telling us that, and we never even found them anyways. My favorite place where we had a cheesesteak, I had 3 different cheesesteaks, was Sonny's. Sonny's had the best cheesesteaks because The place I really wanted to go to, and all the locals said it, and even a lady that lives here now who's actually from Philly told me, because she even told me, she goes, when you go there, she goes, don't go to Geno's or Pat's. They're crap. She goes, you need to go to Angelo's. We look up Angelo's. Angelo's was not open the days that we were in Philly. They didn't open till Wednesday. I was like, son of a bitch. Because you look them up online too, and yeah, they look like perfection. And they get like 5 stars online if you look up Yelp. And every person that we asked, every like bartender when we were out, they're like, my favorite's Angelo's.
No,
didn't get to go to Angelo's.
No, I want a Philly cheesesteak, but in Kingman there, you can't really find a good one.
No. I know. Well, now I'm gonna have to go back though. I'm gonna have to go back because sometime I wouldn't mind going back to Philly though. I liked it despite like smell of pee everywhere. It's still a cool city. Like it's a real cool city. We had a good time. I can't wait till I can be in a city if I choose to after I retire. Like there's here's my feelings. Like, is it perfect anywhere? No. But are there dummies all over the place? Yes. At least in the city there's more to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you have access to everything at your fingertips every day. You can go do whatever you want.
That's why I liked where I lived in Massachusetts. I lived in Peabody,
Yeah.
and which is about 18 miles north of Boston. But I had the ocean literally 5 minutes away, and then if I drove an hour and a half north, I'd be in the mountains. Or if I hopped on the train or drove, I'd be in Boston within a half an hour.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, I had a blast taking public transportation. Like, I got all excited. I'm like, I wonder how much this would cost for, like, a whole year, to just get a year pass for... I'm like, got to be way cheaper than having a vehicle and all the shit that goes along with having a vehicle. And I don't really want to drive after I retire.
No.
My job is driving. I'm pretty much done with it after then, I'd rather be in a city where they have good mass transportation and I can hop on, hop off wherever I need to, I thought that was probably up there with one of my favorite things to do, was being able access to that. I like that too when I had gone to Seattle, like that was another thing that I was like, this is like top of my list of what I had fun doing.
I need to get to Seattle too. On it.
Have you ever been there?
No.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's one of my Seattle and Austin, and spending some actual time. I've been to Chicago, but I haven't really spent actual time in Chicago. But Austin, Seattle, and Chicago are the 3 that I want to do.
Chicago, I know. I didn't get to, and see, I absolutely hands down love Chicago. And I did not even use the L train the whole time I was there. So I'm sure when I can go back there and use that, I'm going to like it even more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I want to go up to the top of I don't forget what the Willis Tower is, what they call it now. Used to be the Sears Tower.
The Sears Tower?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I tell you about my freak out there?
No, you don't like the glass bottom floor?
Well, when we went up there, the whole time I'm thinking, I go, my dad had always told me that, because my dad's from Chicago, moved back and forth. He's actually born in Phoenix, but they moved back and forth between Chicago and Phoenix when he was little. And he would always tell me, he's like, yeah, the Chicago Tower was the highest tower. The Sears Tower was the highest tower minus the Twin Towers. So we went to go...
Chicago's higher than the Twin Towers were.
No. The Twin Towers were higher than Chicago.
If you add that's counting the antenna, though.
Oh, well, if you're counting that. But, I mean, actual building... Like, the Twin Towers were higher than that. And so the whole time we're riding up the elevator and I'm like, you know, da da da. And I started thinking about that though. I'm like, the only thing that were taller than this, because it's a long elevator ride. Like the only thing that was taller was the Twin Towers, and then I was fine the whole time. Like you have to wait in line so you can go into one of the pop out things. The pop out things are like made of plexiglass, and you can see down. And I was fine the entire time. And then it gets to our turn, and my sister jumps out in there. You know, she's out in the pop out, and she's like, "Come on, aren't you coming?" And I'm like, "I can't move. I can't." And then this guy, like, behind us was like, kind of like, he's like, I'll take your guys' picture. Do you want it? And my cousin Billy's like, they're like kind of laughing. I'm like, I can't move. I can't go in there. And the only thing I could think was when people had to jump out the building, jump out the windows, and I could not do it. I could not go out into the box. It was just, it freaked me out. And the whole time before, I'm like watching these kids. There were little girls doing handstands, which I was like, I thought it was hilarious the whole time until it was like our turn to go. And I'm like, I can't. I'm like, you guys, I'll take your picture and then we'll go. And that's what we did. Because I'm like, I can't walk out there. I'm freaking out.
That's how I would do it. I like heights. Like, I have no problem, like the parts of the Grand Canyon where you go right up the edge and look down. I have no problem doing that.
I don't have a thing with heights, though. I jumped out of an airplane. I bungee jumped.
Yeah.
It was the whole thing of thinking about the people who had to jump out of the building because they were going to get burned up. So it was like, either way, they were fucked.
I had that when I went to New York, and you know, after 9/11, and because I used to frequently, because my mom lived in New Jersey, so every 6 weeks I would commute down to New Jersey to see her, because it was only like 5-6 hours away, and I would always see the towers. And then I saw, of course, I went to go see U2 actually a month afterwards, and it was still smoking. And I remember singing in the parking lot of the Meadowlands in New Jersey, and used to walk, look across, and you could see the towers from there. And just being the first time that you didn't see them there, you just see the smoke. I was just like, that kind of freaked me out. And of course, I went down to see the towers after, and did see them, when they were bulldozing everything and trying to clean it up. Before it was even open to the public, I was there too. And then I went back a few years later when the 9/11 memorial's there now, and they have the two imprints of the towers, and around the outside they have everybody's names, which remind me of the the Holocaust Museum. And once you see all those names, it just brought everything back, and I had this holy shit. And they were building the new one, the Freedom Tower, and it wasn't done yet. And just looking at how tall that was, and that just freaked me out too. I was just like, fuck. I was kind of like, I just need to get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that's about it. So snow's back. We're back. And like I said, I did a few of these. I did a couple of my own. Doing it on your own, though, it's hard. You sit here and I did one that was like,
how do I talk to myself?
Yeah, I did one I got 8 minutes in. I was just like, oh, that's all I got.
Usually you just pretend like you're talking to me or something, and then.
Well, if you have a subject, anyway, I had a couple guest hosts on too. Bridget and Sydney on for a couple, so which is good. But it's good to have you back on and stuff like that. But again, to reiterate, this is just our stupid opinions, okay? It doesn't matter. And you know what? If you do not like it, if it offends you, if you disagree that hard, you don't need to.
You don't have to listen.
You don't have to listen. Just turn it off. Listen to something that you like.
Or if you want to listen and disagree with us, that's fine too.
If you want to hate listen to, that's good too.
I mean, but trying to fight people on their opinions is just stupid.
Yeah, and and it. Like I said, I'll get back to that one with the open borders thing the other day on Fox News, and I walked through the door, and the wide open border policy, and I just did this. Jesus Christ! just out loud, but under my breath, and my roommate just turned the channel.
Well, because, I mean, maybe you should try saying that to him, though. Go, have you noticed how they're out here saying that the borders are wide open? This is broadcast in all those countries. This is broadcast in Mexico. This is broadcast in, I think, all the South American countries. I mean, there's probably a way to look it up on Google. Where is Fox News broadcast?
Well, I mean, he's conservative, but he's a reasonable conservative because you remember Stephen Miller? He used to be in Trump's cabinet.
Yeah, the guy, that big head.
The guy looks like a vampire.
Giant forehead.
He looks like just looks like a ghoul.
Yeah.
But he is suing a NASCAR team. Okay, catch us. There's this NASCAR truck team, which is like the third tier minor leagues. Two down, like Double-A baseball before you meet the major leagues. Well, there's one team, and it's based off of Racing for Diversity. Now, what this does has this program that they come in and they have Hispanic young kids come in, women drivers, black drivers come in, do tryouts, and whoever does it wins a seat in this, truck.
Okay.
Well, Stephen Miller is suing this NASCAR team because it's saying it's being prejudiced towards white males. Now,
there aren't already enough teams for the white males to be a part of?
99% of the drivers are white males.
Like, think about it this way. Like, okay, for the people that get all up in arms over the diversity and whatnot, how are some of these folks who were in the diversity program, how the fuck else would they ever be able to be discovered? To know that, like, what if we find a great new fucking driver out of one of them? What if they turn out to be a superstar? How are people like that, who many times are already set at a disadvantage, how are they going to ever get an opportunity like this? Why is it such an infringement on your manhood, or the way he's saying it, your whiteness? How is it such an infringement on that?
Yeah, I mean, being white...
You can't let them have a chance?
Being a white male, I don't think I'm really repressed.
Right. Like, what's so bad about giving other people the opportunity? Will it really make you feel that much smaller if somebody else was able to beat you? I mean, what is this all a thing that had to do with, like, baseball? When they found, I mean, it's almost like they're like, oh, we saw what happened to baseball. We used to have the teams, and then we found out that some of these folks were better than us, and we can't have this.
Well, and just to go on to the opposite end of that, when you have shit like when we had to pick the who's the representative that just died in California?
Oh, Feinstein.
Feinstein, yeah. And they said that they're going to replace her with a black female.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's okay, but I think our side shouldn't really put that message out there.
Mm-hmm.
Say, oh, and if you choose it and you have a black female, okay, she was the best candidate.
Why not
but
don't pick her? Why do you have to make the announcement that this is what I'm doing? I'm trying to pander right now, like, because that is what they're doing. They are pandering,
Yeah.
But it's like, why not just keep that in your mind?
Yeah, in your head.
And not come out your mouth, and then just go do it.
Yeah,
and say, this is who I'm picking, and let them. So you know what you would do if you did it that way? You would let them have all this ridiculous outrage, like, oh, I can't believe he's picking, a black lesbian or whatever. Let them get all outraged. Then you can just turn around and say, you know what? That's who I felt was most qualified for the job.
Yep. But and that does, if you only say, like, okay, I'm only going to choose a black female for this position, that does seem a bit racist.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't. I just think that they should just do it. You don't need to make an announcement.
Yeah, just say this is the best person.
You don't need to do that.
Yeah, this was the best person for the job.
Yeah. Let Republicans continue to make the announcements that we're choosing a white male. That's what they do. That's who they choose every time. Let them fucking do it.
And I'll say that, in like that South Park episode, there was a bit of truth to that when, they replaced all the characters with diverse females. Hollywood does do that.
I know.
You know? And they tend to go over a little bit too overboard on it, But just because there's a black Little Mermaid doesn't mean that wasn't the best character.
Well,
but
I get it too. Like, so they want to express, like, convey the message of inclusivity. Like, everyone,
right.
Anyone could do this. Anyone. Then just, my problem with Hollywood is, where's your news stories too, though? Why do you always have to go and redo something? I have no problem with them redoing it. I have no problem with them making the new Mermaid black. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, why not make great new stories and then don't use as many white characters?
Right,
like, why not fucking do that? Why not make great news stories with great new heroes?
TV is the worst.
They're original.
TV is the worst at that. Like, they'll have like the new Magnum PI. Like, why don't you just come up with a new detective or show? Not Magnum.
Come up with a new fucking badass detective who's like Latino or black or whatever.
I never watched the new Magnum because Magnum PI in my mind is just Tom Selleck.
You can't not have that mustache. Yeah. You can't not have that mustache and those Hawaiian shirts.
And that guy didn't have the mustache. So I'm like, that's not Magnum.
He didn't have a mustache. Was he wearing Hawaiian shirts at least?
I think so.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll give him half.
But the Higgins character was a female.
Oh, okay.
Not like there's anything wrong with that, but
But still, why can't you come up with a whole new character? You are Hollywood. You're the one that creates things. You create all these stories. You have done it for years. I don't know why now you've hit a wall where you can't come up with any new characters?
Yeah. Or like Miami Vice. Why did you have to remake that?
You know what? Maybe Hollywood should start reading some of those scripts that people try to slip them. You might be missing out on some good stories.
I know. It's fucking remake everything.
Like, you could take one of those scripts, and then if you didn't like it because it was like an all-white cast, then you could, like, tweak it yourselves to make it better. Maybe do that. I don't know. I'm spitballing here.
Yeah, and then the other shows are you have fucking 29 seasons of The Voice, but fucking nobody who wins The Voice ever does anything. What's the point of those shows?
Right? I know. Yeah, exactly. Has anyone ever became like a superstar off of that?
The only ones I remember is like the Kelly Clarkson and Daughtry from American Idol are
and Carrie Underwood.
Carrie Underwood.
It's like Carrie Underwood, Kelly Clarkson, and Daughtry.
And there was a couple that were famous for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, and that was American Idol. Yeah. But they have like a million of those shows. They've got like The Voice. They've got America's Got Talent. What happens to all those people? Apparently they didn't have enough talent.
Oh, well, America's Got Talent, you had that guy Terry Fator who does the show in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
You had that one.
Okay, so one, though. Out of all, and you know what, on America's Got Talent, honestly, I was sad to see that one little girl didn't really make a great career with her.
Oh, the ventriloquist girl?
No, she was a singer with the ukulele.
Yeah.
Grace?
Yeah.
Gracie? I can't remember her last name. I know, I was like, how did she wrote her own songs and everything? I was like thinking she might be the next Taylor Swift.
God. Oh, and I guess we're on Taylor Swift. God, it reminded me that like I had made the joke on the podcast that you were going around and like maybe you were dating Tom Brady or something like that because he's single, or maybe that you went to maybe when you went to Philadelphia to meet Jason Kelce, so it could be like Taylor Swift.
I could meet Taylor Swift. So I could be her new bestie.
But yeah, you've been to Kansas City and Philadelphia this year.
I have. I've been to both of the Kelce. And both of the Kelces, both of the Super Bowls, both of the Kelces.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, the point is, now, the new thing to do on the right, because Taylor Swift is just like, you have stars, you have celebrities and stars, but I think it's been quite a while that you have anybody that's on Taylor Swift level celebrity and making billions upon well, she's
She is a billionaire.
She's a billionaire.
She just made it to billionaire.
off just her music, and she's just a really nice person. She donates thousands of dollars in every city she plays to food banks in the area, and she gives her crew. She gave like the guys who drive her trucks after the tour was over, like this $100,000 bonus.
Each one of them?
Yeah.
Good for you, Taylor Swift.
Yeah, because she made so much money during that tour.
Hey, corporations, take a note from Taylor Swift. My God.
Well, but then what happens? The right hates her because she doesn't come out and she's not political. She doesn't, talk politics. Talks. She's backed candidates before.
But she's also made. They might be pissed of her comments of a woman's right to her own body. I know she has made comments about that, which is awesome, though. Yeah. She should be. She is such an influential person, especially of young girls.
Well, but she comes out and at her show, she'll say, "Hey, it's almost November. Be sure to register to vote," which drives the voting registration numbers way up just because she mentions it. Not only that, because she's on social media and they share the videos of the concerts. Voting registration, when she mentions it, goes up across the country. I know. She should get more credit for that, for registering. No, she gets hate from the right. Like, even my roommate was just like, "Oh, I don't care. Who's this Taylor Swift? I've never done this." I'm like, you only dislike Taylor Swift because the news channel is telling you to hate Taylor Swift. Right. And yes, do I get a little sick of the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift thing? Yes, it gets a little bit old.
I don't. I kind of think it's funny.
Yeah, it's kind of cute. I think they're a cute couple.
I think it's the thing that I think is the most hilarious about the whole situation is how when you're watching football on Sundays and the sportscasters are all talking about what Taylor Swift's going to be doing. It's kind of funny because it's like, shouldn't you be talking more about like the games?
I think it was.
Will Taylor Swift be there?
I think it was on one of the games on Amazon, and I think it's Al Michaels is on that one. Oh, I might get the other wrong. Anyway, maybe it's Matus. Anyway. She was there, and he refused to mention it. He goes, "I'm not entertainment tonight. I'm not going to talk about Taylor Swift."
Who?
It was one of the old grumpy announcers. I think Al Michaels or something like that.
Oh, okay. That's crazy. I don't know. People I have a premonition. I think that they're gonna because some people are saying, well, when she finally has to go on tour or whatever, and they're not together for a while, they're gonna end up breaking up and blah blah. People are already talking about that, they're putting their odds down on that. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I even see them getting married. I'm like, they're a cute couple. They should stay together. I like them together. Yeah. I like her with the All-American sports boy.
Yeah, Travis Kelce seems like a good guy.
And he's cute. He's a good-looking guy. And he seems cool.
And I don't believe she's become...
They'd have cute babies. I'm saying is,
I'm
saying that they're going to get married. That's my prediction.
I don't believe she became friends with Brittany Mahomes.
Did you see them? They are friends. Yeah. They were all in the... You know that was the highlight of Brittany's day. She's like, I get to say that I'm friends with Taylor Swift.
I mean, that is a good gift. You know what I mean?
It is.
You throw a dinner party and Taylor Swift shows up. I mean, that's top class right there.
Right?
So anyway, podcast back. Do some more of these. We have some guests lined up, and we got to do our Turkey Awards coming up. Our 4th annual Turkey Awards. Can you imagine? Fucking 4th annual.
Oh, it's almost Thanksgiving. This year's almost over.
Well.
1 year closer to retirement.
God, can't wait. All right, so that's it for this week, and bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.